Hello and welcome to the PN. In this video we are going to talk about missile and their classification. And here is the classification of missile, and there are 6 parameters on which we are going to classify. So classification of missile on the basis of type, on the basis of launch mode, on the basis of range, on the basis of propulsion, on the basis of warhead, and on the basis of guide system. We are going to see all about these in this video. So the first one is on the basis of type. On the basis of type, we have two types, ballistic missile and cruise missile. A ballistic missile is a type of missile that uses projectile motion to deliver warhead, whereas the cruise missile is a guided missile used against the terrestrial and naval targets that remain in the atmosphere and flight path at approximately constant speed. And in ballistic missile, most of the flight is unpowered, and the cruise missiles are designed to deliver warhead with high precision. And here is the difference between ballistic missile and the cruise missile. Ballistic missile is propelled for a short time after the launch. Cruise missile is self-propelled till the end of its flight. Ballistic missile is similar to a rocket engine. Cruise missile shares similarities with a jet engine. Long-range ballistic missiles leave the Earth's atmosphere and re-enter it. Cruise missiles, their flight path is within the atmosphere and they never travel out of it. In ballistic missile, as it is unguided for most of its path, it requires low precision. Therefore, its trajectory depends on gravity, air resistance, and Coriolis force. In cruise missile, it hits target with high precision as it is constantly propelled. Ballistic missile can have a range of 300 km to 12,000 km. As there is no fuel requirement after its initial trajectory, in cruise missile, the range is below 500 km as it needs to be constantly propelled to hit the target with high precision. In ballistic missile, it is developed primarily to carry nuclear warheads. Cruise missiles are developed primarily to carry conventional warheads. Examples of ballistic missile is Prithvi 1, Prithvi 2, Agni 1, Agni 2 and Dhanush missile. Examples of cruise missile is BrahMos missile. Here is the type of ballistic missile and the cruise missile. Ballistic missile: air launched ballistic missile, tactical ballistic missile, freighter ballistic missile, intermediate range ballistic missile, intercontinental ballistic missile, submarine launched ballistic missile, quasi ballistic missile, and hypersonic ballistic missile. Cruise missile: hypersonic, supersonic, intercontinental range supersonic, long range subsonic, medium range subsonic, and short range subsonic. And this is all about type of missile. Next one is on the basis of launch mode. On the basis of launch mode, we have surface to surface missile, surface to air missile, coastal surface to sea missile, air to air missile, air to surface missile, sea to sea missile, sea to surface missile, and anti-tank missile. We are not going to in detail about these. It's just how we launch the missile. That's all. Next one is on the basis of range. On the basis of range, short range missile, medium range missile, intermediate range ballistic missile, intercontinental ballistic missile. Next one is on the basis of warhead. On the basis of warhead, there are two types, conventional warhead and strategic warhead. In conventional warhead contains high energy explosive. It is filled with chemical explosive and relies on the detonation of the explosive and the resulting metal casing fragmentation as kill mechanism. Whereas in the strategic warhead, radioactive materials are present, and when they trigger, they exhibit huge radioactivity that can wipe out even cities. They are generally designed for mass annihilation. Next one is on the basis of propulsion. Propulsion means how missile propel, or what is the fuel used in the missile. So on this we have solid propulsion, liquid propulsion, hybrid propulsion, ramjet, scramjet, and cryogenic. We are going to see solid propulsion. Solid propulsion. Solid fuel is used in a solid propulsion. Generally the fuel is aluminum powder. Solid propulsion has the advantage of being easily stored and can be handled in the fuel condition. It can reach very high speed quickly, and its simplicity also makes it a good choice whenever the large amount of thrust is needed. As we can see in the image how solid propulsion works. Next one is the liquid propulsion. The liquid propulsion technology uses liquid as fuel, and the fuels are hydrocarbons. The storage of missile with the liquid fuel is difficult and complex. In addition, preparation of missile takes considerable time. In liquid propulsion, propulsion can be controlled easily by restricting the fuel flow by using valves, and it can also be controlled even under the emergency conditions. Basically, the liquid fuel gives high specific impulse as compared to the solid fuels. By the image, we can clearly understand. Next one is hybrid propulsion. There are two stages in hybrid propulsion: solid propulsion and liquid propulsion. This kind of propulsion compensates the disadvantage of both the propulsion system and has the combined advantage of the two propulsion system. By the image, we can clearly understand. Next one is ramjet. A ramjet engine does not have any turbines, unlike the turbojet engines. It achieves compression of intake air just by the forward speed of the air vehicle. The fuel is injected and ignited. The expansion of hot gases after the fuel injection and combustion accelerates the exhaust air to a velocity higher than that at the inlet, and it creates a positive push. However, the air entering the engine should be at supersonic speed. So the aerial vehicle must be moving in a supersonic speed. Ramjet engine cannot be propel an aerial vehicle from 0 to supersonic speed. Next one is scramjet. Scramjet is an acronym for supersonic combustion ramjet. The difference between scramjet and ramjet is that the combustion takes place at supersonic air velocities through the engine. It is mechanically simple but vastly more complex and aerodynamically than a jet engine. Hydrogen is normally the fuel used. Next and the last one is cryogenic. Cryogenic propellants are liquefied gases stored at very low temperature. Most frequently, liquid hydrogen as the fuel and liquid oxygen as the oxidizer. Cryogenic propellants require special insulated containers and vents which allow gas to escape from the evaporating liquids. The liquid fuel and oxidizer are pumped from the storage tanks to an expansion chamber and injected into a combustion chamber, where they are mixed and ignited by a flame or a spark. The fuel expands as it burns, and the hot exhaust gases are directed out of the nozzle to provide the thrust. Next is missile on the basis of guidance system. On the basis of guidance system, there is wire guidance, command guidance, terrain comparison guidance, terrestrial guidance, inertial guidance, beam rider guidance, laser guidance, and RF and GPS reference. The first guidance system is wire guidance. The wire guidance is broadly similar to radio command but is less susceptible to electronic countermeasures. The command signals are passed along a wire dispensed from the missile after the launch, as shown in the figure. The second one is command guidance. Command guidance involves tracking the projectile from the launch site or platform and transmitting commands by radio, radar, or laser impulse or along thin wires or optical fibers. Tracking might be accomplished by radar or optical instrument from the launch site, or by radar or television imagery relayed from the missile. Next one is terrain comparison guidance or TERCOM. TERCOM is invariably used by cruise missile. The system uses sensitive altimeters to measure the profile of the ground directly below and check the result against the stored information. Fourth one is terrestrial guidance. This system constantly measures the star angle and compares them with the pre-programmed angle expected on the missile's intended trajectory. The guidance system directly controls the system whenever an alteration to trajectory is required. The fifth one is inertial guidance. This system is totally contained within the missile and is programmed prior to launch. Three accelerometers mounted on a platform space stabilized by gyros and measure acceleration along three mutually perpendicular axes. These accelerations are then integrated twice, the first integration giving the velocity and the second giving the position. The system then directs the control system to preserve the pre-programmed trajectory. These systems are used in surface-to-surface missile and cruise missiles. The sixth one is beam rider guidance. The beam rider concept relies on an external ground or ship-based radar station that transmits a beam of radar energy towards the target. The surface radar tracks the target and also transmits a guidance beam that adjusts its angle as the target moves across the sky. The seventh one is laser guidance. In laser guidance, a laser beam is focused on the target and the laser beam reflects off the target and gets scattered. The missile has a laser seeker that can detect even minuscule amount of radiation. The seeker provides the direction of the laser scatter to the guidance system. The missile is launched towards the target and the seeker looks out for the laser reflection and the guidance system steers the missile towards the source of the laser reflection that is ultimately the target. The eighth and the last one is RF and GPS reference. RF stands for radio frequency and GPS, global positioning system, are the examples of technologies that are used in missile guidance system. A missile uses GPS signal to determine the location of the target over the course of its flight. The weapon uses this information to send the command to control the surface and adjust its trajectory. In a RF reference, the missile uses RF waves to locate the target. We had completed all the classification and the types of missile. I hope you liked it. Thank you. Thanks for watching.